What if a state doesn't become powerful by inspiring people, but by controlling what they can become? Not by convincing them, but by leaving them with no other path. Welcome to Nerdjacker's Vault. Today, we're stepping into the Book of Lord Shang, a vision of governance that doesn't try to be admired. It tries to work, and it begins with something uncomfortable. Tradition doesn't matter, not because it's wrong, but because it's outdated. A ruler hesitates to change laws, afraid of criticism. Shang Yang dismisses it immediately. What worked before may not work now, and holding on to it out of respect or fear is not wisdom, it's weakness. So legitimacy doesn't come from the past, it comes from results. Government is not about persuasion, it's about structure. People are not expected to act well on their own. They respond to what benefits them and what threatens them. So the system must be built around that. Laws, rewards, punishments, not suggestions, controls. And everything is measured by one question: does it make the state stronger? If it doesn't, find something that does. That's where the focus narrows. Agriculture, war, everything else is secondary. Farming feeds the state, war expands it, so both must be strengthened, and not just encouraged, forced. People should be pushed toward land cultivation. Other paths should be restricted. Trade should be restricted. Crafts should be discouraged. Even cultural life should be reduced, not because they are useless in themselves, but because they don't serve the core. The result is deliberate. A population directed into a few essential functions. Nothing scattered, nothing wasted. And once that structure is in place, something else follows. Uniformity. Not harmony, but alignment. Everyone moving toward the same goals. Diversity of purpose becomes a problem because it creates alternatives, and alternatives weaken control, so they are removed. Law becomes the center of everything, not moral law, operational law, clear, fixed, applied without exception, not dependent on the character of the ruler or the virtue of officials. In fact, relying on good people can be treated as a mistake, because people change, law doesn't. And that predictability is what holds the system together. Punishment becomes the primary tool, severe, early, consistent. Small crimes are not ignored. They are eliminated immediately, so they don't grow into larger ones. The logic is simple. Prevent disorder before it forms. Rewards exist, but carefully, limited, precise, tied directly to measurable contribution, and that contribution is narrow. Farming, military success, nothing else earns advancement. So ambition should be redirected, not toward personal success in any form, but toward what strengthens the state. And once that alignment is in place, behavior begins to change, not because people become better, but because the system leaves them no reason to act otherwise. Then comes something colder. A strong state requires a weak people, not incapable, but controlled. If people become too wealthy, they grow independent. If too educated, they begin to question. If too comfortable, they become idle. So all of that is managed. Wealth is tied to service, knowledge is limited to function, desire is narrowed, not out of cruelty, but to prevent fragmentation. Because once people develop separate interests, the state loses cohesion. And cohesion is everything. Even war follows this logic. Victory is not about bravery. It's prepared in advance, through organization, through supply, through structure. An army reflects the state that built it, disciplined or disordered, efficient or wasteful. And the same applies internally. A state that does not aware of itself declines. Population, land, production. Everything must be counted, tracked, understood. Without that, size means nothing. A large state without structure is already weak. So governance becomes calculation, not intuition, not tradition, but control through measurable systems. And beneath all of it is a simple assumption. People move toward profit and away from harm. So the ruler shapes both. Align profit with state needs, attach harm to deviation, and behavior follows, not perfectly, but predictably. And predictability is enough. By the end, the picture is clear. This is not a moral system. It doesn't try to make people good. It tries to make them useful, to build a state that is stable, efficient, and dominant. where every part serves a function, where nothing operates outside the structure, and where strength is not hoped for, but engineered. And once you understand it, you start to see it in how power still tries to shape people today. That's all for today. Please subscribe for more contents like this. For the full audiobook, please check the link in the description.